Bitcoin halving is coming. We have a couple of hours, guys, couple of hours. So I wanted to bring you guys a quick stream. We are crazy busy in Dubai at the moment, but I wanted to quickly shoot this for you guys as we are getting a little bit of a market bounce. And we obviously want to see that, is this a bit of a trap? Are we still going down lower? So now that we got a little bit more candle print, we can start preparing for the next actual moves. So I want to bring you guys the show quickly, pump you up. Bitcoin halving, big celebration. I don't know how much action will actually happen when the countdown is finished, but nonetheless, this is massive for the future, right? This is the guys that must mine Bitcoin, the supply is dropping in half, and it's going to become a lot more rare to be getting. So historical wise, big moment for all of us, and we got to celebrate that all. But the question is, markets have come down hard, altcoins have got smashed. What is happening right now? Is this bounce real? Is it a massive trap? How do we get prepared for it? So guys, no more wasting time. Let's have a great day. It's happy Friday. The weather's better in Dubai now, which is amazing. And no more wasting time, guys. Let's go. Alrighty, guys, happy Friday to you all. Remember, if you're brand new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and hit the like button if you're enjoying this content. You have educational sniper coming back at the moment, because I think this is the most critical time for us to just look at what happened and to basically use it for preparation to kick butt in the future, right? I actually see a lot of opportunities now, and I also see a great time for us to really prepare our portfolio. And there's a lot to speak about. So today's show is going to be super important, and it's going to play a very big role when the markets go up again, of how you take this information in and how you prepare your portfolio. So the first thing I want to start off, guys, is I just want to say that being here at the conference, we've seen a little bit of downside in price, right? We're in a bull, guys. What I mean, we're in a bull. We're in the next 10-year bull. The amount of building, the amount of things happening in crypto, how full it is here, and the amount of people that are involved with everything here. I just want to inspire you again to get out and to use crypto for the entire journey. Yes, it's nice making money, and that's incredible, but you got to get out to these conferences. You got to come see what it's actually about. This is a culture. This is a new lifestyle. It's a new financial system, and people are thriving and coming together, and we got to celebrate that whole thing as well. So it is exciting, guys, and do me a favor, absolutely obliterate that like button right now if you are here to stay and you're excited about the whole entire life change that this brings for you guys. It's incredible. So let's jump straight into the charts. Oh yes, just before that, we got GUMMY. I think a lot of the airdrops and stuff's happening tomorrow, and obviously the screenshots are done too. I think there's one more opportunity with Blowfin at the moment. Is if you still sign up with the Blowfin account, you deposit $100. There's still a possibility for you to get the airdrop. You'll see the tweet on the GUMMY platform as well. So go below, open up a Blowfin account, deposit $100 in, and you could still possibly be a part of the airdrop if you're late. And if you're late, where have you been? Guys, you're about to get it's incredible, a community token. This is 100% given to the community, and you know what, you guys are going to be the ones that's going to make it a success or not. That's the crazy thing. So selling, doing these sort of things, play the game, make money, do this incredibly strong, but also know that you guys are the ones that's going to make the success of this thing. So do it responsibly, do it well, and let's make this thing a massive success, guys. We wanted to change so many lives, and I've got a really good feeling it's going to be really big, and it is going to do that. So there's the last chances for you guys, and let's jump straight into it. So let me make sure, this is the second time I'm quickly shooting this video, because I ended up not sharing my screen for the half of the last recording. So let's get going. So the big thing I want to start off, guys, is let's quickly chat about what we're doing right now. What we're doing right now is we're going to try guess the bottom. We're going to try see when this market going to go up again. But what you got to really focus on is understanding what you're doing with your entire portfolio, right? Now, I explained to you guys the other day, and I want to show you this over here quickly. I explained to you guys that the best time always to take risk on in the markets is when you actually get to this big investing zone, right? The weekly chart, stochastic at the bottom. When we actually get there, it's always the best time to actually take on risk, to buy some small caps, to buy some high risk, some medium risk, all these sort of things. That's actually the time. And why I'm saying that is because we actually haven't had it for a while, right? We haven't had these entries or these sort of things for a while, because you want to keep the concept and keep the understanding that you can take risk when the market has had fear in it, when it's had pullback. Then you can take on risk. what you don't want to do is take on risk when we actually miss that opportunity, when we're actually going to the upside. And this is a big, big, big thing to understand. So whenever the market is getting to the top sort of areas, what you are doing is you're jumping to your safe assets. Now you got to make up your mind what that is. A big realization for me is I don't bank enough Bitcoin. I don't bank enough of it. I don't take enough profits into Bitcoin. And why am I saying that? Is because I don't believe getting out of the crypto market is a good idea. Getting into USDT, all of these sort of things, like the only USDT that I'm getting into is money that I want to spend and money that I want to use. And other than that, I want to jump to the safest assets. And I think proof's in the pudding. We've seen a correction in the market, and Bitcoin only dropped 17%. 17% is what it dropped in quite a tough stage. Now, will it drop more? We'll go through that, but nonetheless, it holds way better than the entire market. So when we get to a point, and go watch the show that I did 2 days back, is one of the most powerful strategies you'll ever see. But end of the day, whenever we're getting to the top part over here, it is time to jump to your safer assets. And what I taught you guys the other day on that show is just you need that one. You need to categorize all your tokens, but it's very important to understand what is medium risk, what is high risk, what is very high risk. You need to understand what these tokens are, where they should be sitting, and when to be getting in and out of them. So I made this simple thing here that when you get down to this under 20% on your stochastic RSI, take on risk. Go buy some small caps. Go take because it's the right time that you are doing it. Then when this starts to go up and you get over 80%, start getting rid of that super high risk stuff. Now I'm about to show you a very powerful strategy to know what is high risk, what's medium risk, all of these sort of things, right? But end of the day, when you get there, you get out of these tokens. When you get there, you get out of these tokens. When you get there, you get out of these tokens. And eventually, by the time you get to an overextended market of over 90%, where every time in history, at some point, we pulled back hard when we were at these sort of areas, you are in your safest asset at that point. And when it comes down again, you then jump into your risk again. So now that you have that basic understanding, let's quickly go through a couple of these tokens. So I want to go through a little bit of, if you look at this, the highs of Bitcoin is around 73, 74K. We had the drop. Now, how big was the drop? The drop was around 17 to 18% to the downside. Now, what's very important to understand about this, guys, is firstly, we haven't had investment entries for a while, for the last couple of weeks on many of the tokens. And remember what I explained to you guys as well about this, is if you buy any token that's actually above this percentage here. So let's just bring up over here. Any token that you buy above 20% on the stochastic RSI is actually a trade. It's not an investment because you never got it at the right time to be an investor. And that's fine. It's okay. At least you know that. And what that means is if at any point you get in here, it's so important for you to be taking some sort of something off the table at these areas over here when we start to get extended. Investments, you might be able to actually hold through them. Now, why I'm saying this is because if you got a couple investment entries a couple days back, or a couple weeks back, or a couple months back, this dip meant nothing to you, right? Something that went up 300% and now down 40%, you're still way above, and you'll survive the big corrections that come that shake out the market. And what it's going to do is always going to shake out the latecomers, the people that came in late, all these sort of things. And if you're new and new business stuff, like you're about to go through a massive, massive, massive emotional roller coaster. And that's why I've always believed in TA, because let's follow a system that works and let's become non-emotional sort of traders and things like that, because I think it's very important. So it gets the froth out the markets. Smart money buys, hold smart diamond hands and big guys in the markets, or people that have been here for a while, they hold through the stuff. If not, they're only but adding, right? And taking advantage whenever there's fear and blood in the actual streets. So it's just important to be honest with yourself that you either got a good entry or you got a crap one. And if you got a crap one, it's fine. You just got to take profits on it so that the next time it's in the beautiful zone again, you don't miss it. And another thing that's also important is if you are in a little bit of downside now, let's say you did buy a little bit late on a couple of tokens, you got to understand that a lot of tokens are down now, okay? And if you can put anything into that token now, it's gonna play a massive role. And why I'm saying that is because when your token goes down or you're in a losing trade, right? Let's say you're down 50%. Remember, your downside is calculated. You can only go down a certain amount. Upside is infinite, right? So if you go down 50%, you basically got to go up 90 to 100%. Well, going back up to the same levels is 90 to 100%. So you actually make more money to the upside when these sort of things happen, right? Yeah, when we go up. So what that means is if you need this thing to recover 100%, by the time it recovers, you're at break even. So all of that time, all of that pressure, all of that stuff, just to get your money back. But if you can even put in 10% or 5% or whatever you can at these current levels or the levels that I'll be showing you guys now, by the time it gets back to the break even, this part of your portfolio will be recovered, or this part of the position will be recovered, and this one will be in the money. So by the time you get there, you've actually made something. Plus, you're getting more tokens than what you could have got at that previous time too. So if something is down 50% now, you only have to spend half the money to get the same amount of tokens that you could have got 3 weeks ago. And that's the insane thing with what you can do. So you got to really take this concept and understand you focus on token amounts here, you focus on your positions and all of these sort of things, which is very important, and it's very mature for this market to be doing that. If you just, guys, end of the day, I believe Bitcoin will go up for the next 20 years. I think at some point you'll make money, even if you bought terrible or not. But I want you to take it serious when we do have blood in the streets. You're not always, this blood in the streets and these big events that happen, they don't always come. So when they do come, they come 2-3 times a year with a massive shakeout or massive flood of market. Like, you have to learn to take opportunities of the stuff and fix everything and take massive lessons through that too. So let's get straight back over here and let's go back in here. So this is super important. Then the next thing that you are doing now is you're calculating how well things hold when the markets come down. And what you're going to do with this information is this is how you're going to categorize your actual tokens. Because right now, it's not about what you think is amazing, what you think is great. It's about when the markets are green, which tokens are performing the best. And when the markets are red, which ones are dropping the hardest and holding the best. The data is going to show you what is high risk, what is low risk, and medium risk in the market. You don't have to make that decision. You don't have to guess what it is. You literally got to use the data. So if you look at this now, you look at things of Bitcoin, it's come down 17%, the strongest one, right? Then what you do is you scroll down. And let's go to another example of Ethereum. As much as Ethereum hasn't been pumping too much, it's still one of the best holding tokens when the markets come down, right? This thing came down, if we look over here, around 27% to the bottoms. And if you look at where we are right now, we're down 23%. And remember, we're down 23%, but if it goes to the upside, you're making more, right? It's 34% to the upside. So it's a big advantage to be taking any sort of, positions on these areas or dollar costing in here, because it plays a role to make more money in the future. Now we go through a couple more, and I just want to go through them here quickly. So here we go. Doge came down 33% to where we are now, and it actually came down in total 44%. So, whoa, like this is double Bitcoin. This is quite a bit more than Ethereum. Okay, interesting. Now we go to the next one, Solana. Solana is now 32% down, but what did it come down? 44%. So Solana is doing good to the upside, and it's still one of the best ones out there. But guys, it still cracks a little bit when the markets come down, because it's such an aggressive token to the upside. It's pretty devastating to the downside when you don't get it at the right sort of time. So nonetheless, it may be a good project, and it may be a good chain and all of these sort of things. And I think the future is very bright for them. It's still a very important token to take some sort of profits on. And to understand that this thing does struggle a bit, and you got to also go look at the bear market that it went through as well. So it's important, as much as we love it, we got to end of the day be honest, right? So this is down 44% to those lows. You look at something like Phantom came down 54%. Interesting. Okay, quite a big correction on a lot of these altcoins. But let's go look at the next ones. GALA Games. Let's go look at the bottom. 60% it came down. Okay, again, a normal person that's going to invest and knows when to take on risk is looking at this as a massive opportunity. But I'm also looking at the data to see, how do I categorize? Like, what does this mean, right? And look how well it does to the upside, though. Look how much this thing went up. If we look at that period over there, it pumped 300%, and then it came down 60%. Okay, and that's literally a lot of late buyers got smashed now. Anyone that bought up here is selling down here. And these ones, all the people that bought down here were selling into this pump over here, right? And now there's fear in the street. So guess who's buying again? Guess who's getting back into them? Probably the same people that were buying here, right? The smart money in the markets. So now we know 60%. Let's quickly go through a couple of them. We're going to look at AVAX came down 55%. Let's go look at Chainlink. Chainlink from the highs. If we go look from the highs all the way to the low wick, let's quickly see over here, 47%. Okay, so Chainlink's actually one of the stronger ones to the downside at the moment. It may seem not, but it is. Stat-wise, it's stronger. It actually held very similar to Sol. It actually held better than AVAX. It actually held a lot of these things, and that's a nice critical thing to make sure of. End of the day, you got to value your tokens when the market's red. You can't value them when they're green, because green is, I wouldn't say it's manipulation, but it's FOMO, it's hype, it's all these sort of things. It's maybe not the true value of the token, but when you're seeing the downside, you're starting to see the strength and seeing how well they hold. Then let's go through a couple more here. Dot came down 51%. Cool. Then we go down to a couple more. Let's go down to THORChain. So THORChain did incredibly well, but this one came down 62%. One of the biggest droppers was THORChain. Okay, we go look at something like Near protocol. If we go look at from here to the bottom, we're looking around 52%. Okay, so what's important is to go through your tokens and to go look at this. Go look at all the data. Then what you're going to do is you're going to realize which tokens are incredibly strong to the upside, okay, and which ones are terrible to the downside. And what you're going to do with this information is you're going to categorize your tokens. Now, for me, safest assets for me is Bitcoin, and it used to be ETH. Okay, it used to be ETH. Right now, it's not so much ETH anymore. It's actually just mainly Bitcoin. A little bit of ETH, okay? Because ETH does hold well, but end of the day, it's good to it used to perform incredibly strong, and I'm hoping there's some sort of ETH season at some point. But it's just proving to me that it's not as strong as what we would like it to be when the markets come down. So that kind of has moved from my safe asset to my medium risk sort of asset. Okay. Then you got the other tokens that started to drop a little bit bigger. Okay. And this is how you're going to calculate your very high risk, your high risk, your medium risk, and your low risk. It's going to come down to how much did they drop in this dump? How hard did they come down? That's how you're going to categorize your tokens. Because when things get hard in the market, true colors come out of how strong the project or how strong the token or the community or everything together, how strong they actually are. Okay, they may be incredibly strong when the coin's going up, but how strong are they when things come down, right? That's ultimately what's going to create strength and show you like, is this a good token to invest in for a very long sort of period of time? So you're going to take all these percentages and you're going to categorize them. Okay, now I'm not saying you have to get out of any of these tokens or do anything now. It's the next time we rise up again, you're going to know which tokens I have to be getting out. And then what you're going to use again is that stochastic RSI, that when you get to 80%, you start getting rid of these tokens. Now, if I looked at it, like THORChain was incredible to the upside, but it will be one of the tokens that I actually sell earlier than things like Link or Ethereum or anything like that, because it's not too great on the downside. So that means when there's been blood in the streets and the markets have come down really hard, it's a token that I really want because it's incredible to the upside. It's going to make me a lot of money. But the moment I hit a certain part on the stochastic RSI, or moment I hit a certain point of that, it's very important for me to pull that token out and to go and bank Bitcoin. Okay, so you're taking all this information and you're basically categorizing all of your tokens off of data and off of what they actually represent or what they show in the actual markets when you're seeing this massive moves to the up or the downside. And this is incredible, guys, because what it means now is you don't have to, you can go buy these tokens, of course, but at least you know what part of the portfolio you're buying with. The next thing that's important as well is the percentages that you're putting in those tokens. So the way it should work is your high risk, your low risk, your Bitcoin is still going to make you great money over time, guys. So there's no point having more altcoins than just Bitcoin in a sense. But the chart does open slightly. You are taking a lot more risk. So for example, 20%, 30% in Bitcoin, okay, 10% in ETH. Okay, then you got to 5% in Solana. But what you're doing is you now know that your low risk will be 30% of your portfolio, your medium risk will be 20 or 30% when the market is bleeding, when it's really down and it's the right time to do so. And then you got 15% in high risk, and you got 10% in very high risk. Okay, so you just got to sort out your money and your calculations of what you're actually doing, guys. Remember, you're here for the long term. You're here to learn the game. You're here to play the game, and the way to it. By the way, hit the like. I want to see the likes fly through the roof, guys. Teaching Snipers back. When I saw so many fans here, so many of those guys, it made me realize that I love you so much. I love the community so much. I love what we do so much. So take it in and let's go. So now that you have that information, let's quickly make sure I'm sharing screen over here. Now that you have that information, you can firstly go see what's on a massive special. Okay, then what you want to do is let's look at a couple areas of what we're looking for in the weeklies or what we're buying or anything like that. Okay, so the big concern that I just look at Bitcoin as a whole, stochastic's coming down, but it's still got about 2 weeks to come down to the bottom where it's worth investing. So that means if we can even show some strength down, maybe the market does bounce and want to break highs, but it would be trades again. It wouldn't be the main investment entries. And another thing that's also important is looking at the momentum line of where we've come previously. We're still quite far from it. So as much as there's good support here at 60K, there really is, there's still that possibility that we may come down to these areas, which is the low 50,000s. And ultimately, that would be an investment entry again for the entire market, not only just Bitcoin, if that happens. Okay, so if you go through a couple of your coins, if some of them are on the lines or on the areas, you can start slightly dollar costing now, but still know that there can still be some sort of downsides. You've got a little bit of time to sort this out and to get everything to where it needs to be. But let's go through a couple of them over here and let's quickly just see. So here's total 3 as well. Total 3 is back on momentum actually. And it's nearly in the green box here, and this is nearly at the bottom. So if this gets to the bottom and we hold this line here and we're back in these zones here, that's a great time for good altcoins that are back on supports to be loading up on them. So total 3 is giving us a really good sign with that. Now let's go through the chart. So if you look at things like DOGE, firstly, it's nice. It's at the point of 30-40% down. But what you got to see here is it was in a sideways market for a long period. It broke through its first higher high for a very long time. And it's literally coming down to retest that and to turn all of that into support. Okay, so this ultimately is the hot area of where I want to build some of my Doge, also knowing that there might be a little bit more downside, there might be a little bit more blood. Now, just because this RSI is coming down doesn't mean we're going to just keep coming down. It could sit flat here for a little while and the RSI will still come down. Okay, it's just about understanding that you got a bit of time to accumulate this and get these sort of areas. So you're looking for previous breakouts and coming back to previous levels that we got through. It's called support. This was resistance. We couldn't get here for a long time, guys. Couldn't get through it. Now we got through it and we're retesting it. And ultimately, that's called a confirmation buy. It's called a nice support buy on a lot of these tokens. So if we go through things like Sol is back on momentum line. It has support over here, but that's the momentum line. So what does that mean? That means that over here, if we decide that this RSI comes to the bottom and we hold this line, this would be the area of where you're accumulating it. But you also know that this isn't down at the bottom yet. What does that mean? It means you're going to put 10, 20% in now and you're going to wait. And there's another thing that also helps you is if you pop in your daily trend lines, we're tracking this momentum down. And until we've cracked this trend and moved there, like this could take time here, if not get worse. And if it gets worse, if we lose this support here, where do we go next? To the next major supports. That means that that's possibly a $90 Solana. Okay, and you don't have to be afraid of that. You don't be scared of that. But it just means, okay, if it gets worse here, that's where I'm going to catch it. And that's where I'd leave some of these orders. But until we've broken that line, we might not get there. And that's a great thing with tracking and understanding these levels. Look at things like Phantom. Guys, Phantom is back. Come on, it hasn't been here for so long. It finally broke through it. We had Phantom rally up to $1.30. It's back at 7, half price again. And it's back on support. Now, the thing is, support's still a little bit lower. This is still coming down. So what does that mean? Again, 5, 10% over here. But at the end of the day, there still might be more blood. 50 cents looks great. That looks really good to catch. We're at 70 now. So there's still more downside. We still more sort of areas over here when it comes to Phantom. Things like THETA, something that broke out for so long, finally broke out of the range. That's bullish, guys. It is bullish. But the best thing we're looking for is this pullback over here. That's support. That's support over there, right? So it's amazing to go through them and go see these different levels. Here's GALA games. So again, if I look at things like GALA games, this goes under high risk, if not very high risk. Anything that's pulling back 60, 70, 80% on pullbacks, like it's super high risk, guys. But it also does 300% to the upside. So buying at the right time and doing properly is amazing, right? But you don't want to hold this shit when the market comes down. You definitely don't. And it's just shown that, right? But at least you know that now. Doesn't mean you hate it. Doesn't mean you don't want to be with it. No, you're just going to buy at the right time. And you're definitely going to get out in the upside. And remember, you're probably out of it by the time RSI is at 80%. And you know what's going to happen? Price is still going to go up more after that. Okay, but you're getting out earlier. You're not going for the tops, you're not going for the bottoms. You're going for the areas of where you're going to be consistent and you're going to be doing it at the right times and things like that. So pay attention to a lot of these weekly charts over here and use this time over here to really prepare yourself. Look at things like Thorchain. Here we go, back at $5. Amazing. This thing was sitting at relatively pumped to nearly $12. Back at 5, back at half price. And it came out of that range and now it's retesting. Previously we were here, it was a great buy. you ended up doing nearly 200% of the upside the last times here, and this RSI is coming down. So you can look at these things as opportunities. One strong coin that's been pretty good is 𝗕𝗓. 𝗕𝗓 as well. So 𝗕𝗓 would be a medium risk for me. RUNE would be a high risk. DOT would be around about a high risk. If you look at Chainlink, medium risk. Okay, look at AVAX, high risk. Look at things like GALA, high risk. THETA, high risk. So it's so nice to just go through all your coins now, and you've let you know, okay, cool, this one's high risk, this is low risk. Guys, easy, right? That's amazing. Instead of trying to think fundamentals and does the company make sense and is it going to do well and how is it going to hold, like, no, data. So again, it's just using the data is a very simple thing. So we got it. We happy with that. Remember, comment below if you enjoyed this, guys, and comment what tokens, like, even just pop them out there. What do you see as medium risk? What do you see as high risk? And how do you determine it? I want you guys to start teaching with me. I like teaching, right? But I want you to teach too. If you're kicking ass in this market, teach. Pop it in the comments now and let's see what you got. Tell me why 𝗕𝗓 is a medium risk, but tell me a proper fact, not fundamentals, not about what they're building or what they're doing. No. Explain to me how you're doing it, and come, guys. I want to see the teachers out there. I want to see those who want to help. Pop in the comments. Let's get the comments rolling. I want hundreds of comments on these videos, not 10, 20, 50 comments. I want lots, because we're in this together and live in the moment. Guys, you need to be part. When I saw the communities here, be part of the community. Okay, if you got the money to do it, be a part of Sniper Club. If you got if you don't have money, like be in Sniper School, which is free. Go be in that community. Be in the communities and play your part and help the entire community do these things, because it's very rewarding. It's incredible to be sharing these things, and you're probably going to save a lot of people's lives. You're going to help a lot of people by doing it. Okay, now let's go talk about, at the moment, is this bounce obviously real? That's the big thing. So decent daily candle, decent. They shaked out one more time, got me stopped on 1 or 2 trades. I'm taking a breather now. Once I'm sure, because if I look at this now, let's just pop in this chart here. We have quite a bit of resistance coming up. So you can see I got 2 blocks here. Firstly, it's holding 60, okay, which is pretty good. If we hold 60 and go here and break highs, it's pretty bullish, right? Again, it's still not the best time to invest in it. Later on, there'll be more blood again. Maybe higher, maybe lower, it doesn't matter. Until then, like, we need to make sure. But however, if it does break through, it's bullish, right? It's strong, very, very, very strong. Maybe the halving does play a massive role of pumping it up. Usually the halving, not much happens. Okay, but over time, super bullish, right? Super bullish, historical, amazing. We dropping the supply in half for what miners could do. Like, it's becoming more valuable, right? It's becoming incredibly good. So if we look at this now, good bounce on support. Okay, if we lose 60K, we're not in crap, but it's going to speed up to the downside, definitely. Because if we lose 60, you look at the next horizontal, you're looking around 52. And I do think that would be a very powerhouse bounce. Like, I think it's going to be a lot of interest sitting in that area if we go anywhere near there. But so we know the 60, it's important. So again, this is a perfect time to crunch up on a little bit of stop losses here in case that happens, right? Because that's the area where we should accelerate very quickly if that happens to the downside. Then what we got to do is this low over here, 65 to 60 is going to be hard to get through. Now, if we do get through it, there'll be a bit of a squeeze, and the squeeze will then take us to 68, 69. But these two levels of 65, 66 and 68, 69, these are main resistances. These are main hard levels to be getting through. And until we have gotten through them, we have to be slightly bearish. We do. We have to still consider that there's more downside and there's possibly better entries in the market if we decide to go to that sort of point over there. Just making sure my screen is shared. Yes, it is. Okay. Let's jump straight back in. Let's get going. So for now, it's a good bounce, but it can be a trap, guys. It can be a trap. So if we don't get through this area over here, what we do want to see is we obviously want to see pop through and squeeze to this area here. And again, we want to get through the very important all-time highs if we can. And that would be great. And what would be nice if that happens is Bitcoin will probably lead. It will probably go first. Alts will go, but it will go first. And what's nice about that is the moment it gets through there, by the time it comes back here, this is when altcoins will probably start coming back again, where they start pumping up. So you got time to know that, there'll still be time to get altcoins in a week or two if that starts to happen. But until then, this can come down to the range lows, if not to the down. And remember, how am I taking this analysis? Firstly on short time frame, but I also know the weekly stochastic still got to come down for 2-3 weeks. Then we're in the ultimate fear zone. And if you look at things here, the fear and greed, just want to show you this. We're still on 66. It's not extreme fear. It's not extreme. As an investor, you feed on fear, right? Fear is the one. So when you start popping to this red, start going to 20, 30. And remember, with this fear and greed, you can also pop in here and get the whole entire graph. If you go backtrack all of this on fear, the best times were down here. We've even been down to 10 before. Insane. But that's the areas. This over here, I'd say below 25. 25 is like, which means there would have to be quite a bit more downside if that happens. I do think dominance will be a little bit more gentle us. I think a lot of damage happened on alts. So I think there'll be like Bitcoin will sort of catch up a little bit with the damage. Doesn't mean alts won't go lower, but I do think we'll have a little bit of catch up on Bitcoin at any moment if that happens. But until then, guys, it is a little bit of possibly a trap. Now, it doesn't mean if we get through here, there can be a squeeze, it can be reversed, no problem. For now, you got to be critical that this isn't the major strong bounce just yet. It is nice to see that there is a little bit of bounces over here. So you look at things like Doge, we're still waiting for that thing to possibly break trend. And if so, there'll be a little push to the upside. But until we are through these two red blocks here, we're still slightly bearish. So what that means is if we do crack here, there is some short-term money to be made. Some short-term traders, again, in, out very quickly, 5-10%, make some money. And that's it. You're not promised any more right now until we get through these major levels over here. So I'm kind of not calling it as a trap, but I do think it is a little bit of a possible trap of just making you think that it's all done, and it may not be done just yet. We did break a lot of structure. It will take a little bit of time to get through. And same thing here. Solana's not bullish until it's back above 170. We're at 143 now. Until it's back above here and breaking the bigger trends and all these sort of things, it is a little bit of a trap. And maybe it's also a time for you to rebalance your portfolio when we do get to these blocks over here. You see my little Doge guy dancing over there. Very, very, very clever over here. Things like Phantom, a little bit of a range here. If this pops through. So short-term analysis, guys, at the moment, I wouldn't be too bullish just yet. I would take advantage of it. There's a little bit of push to the upside, but we're still in that little bit of that trap territory at the moment. I think the bears still have a little bit of control for now. I think they got about 2 weeks to 3 weeks left, and then I think the bulls are just going to come for vengeance. Like, I think the bulls are going to absolutely destroy. And when going back on all my analysis and relooking at everything now, because remember, you got to reanalyze every couple of weeks. You got to reanalyze, check, is my strategies right? Am I doing these sort of things right? I think when Bitcoin gets to the areas of back into all-time high territories, but I think when we're properly grinding through maybe the 80, 90Ks, then I think altcoins will get triggered. End of the day, I've been fighting so long to get us altcoin entries, and you guys will all be grateful that I did fight and push you for so long. Yeah, we've had to be patient, but end of the day, we'll be the ones that catch it. But I think it will come a little bit later when Bitcoin's free floating, and then we're going to obviously start going. And I do think there'll be an ETH run, and things will start to move. So guys, have a fantastic day. I'll be here again maybe tomorrow if the market does something big. I'll be back again with you guys. We're gonna get out of here. We got a lot of exciting things happening. If you want to see, I'm dropping a whole bunch of stuff on my Insta. Sheldon the sniper, the one with the blue tick. Go follow me over there. Go through on our Twitter. That's where we'll keep track of you guys as well. Amazing, guys. Have a fantastic day. If you've enjoyed this, if you love that you just got this and the education, hit the like, and I'll see you guys on the next show. Much love.